Shalom, Holy Initiates and Holy Adepts. I am the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon. Welcome to my holy channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss what are considered four of the greatest and most powerful of divine names, which are basically natural extensions and expansions of the highest and greatest and most powerful of divine names, which is none other than the Tetragrammaton. Now, this video is essentially a really super basic introduction because our very esoteric Kabbalistic texts go very, very deep into the subject of these four divine names that I will be presenting in this video. What I'm going to share and introduce in this video is probably only 1% of what is contained in our esoteric principle Kabbalistic text, just to give you some context. So let us begin. Now, I'm going to begin with revealing the first of these four powerful divine names. Bear in mind that we have four divine names because the Tetragrammaton is quadrilateral in essence, being composed of four letters. Ergo, the reason why its expansion would come to include four divine names. Now, the first of the divine names you see here on the screen, which is an expansion of the Tetragrammaton, meaning that it is the Tetragrammaton spelled out when you include the full spelling of each of those four letters. So you see four Hebrew words before you. Each of those Hebrew words is a spelling of one of those four Hebrew letters or seals. Okay, now this divine name here is associated with Malchuth. Okay, now you can see here the first Hebrew word is Yod spelled out. The next one is Hey spelled out. The third one is Wow spelled out, and then the fourth one is Hey spelled out. Now, we need to understand that there are many ways that you can spell a letter in Hebrew, right? This goes back to the polysemity of this very supernatural language. There's many ways that you can spell a letter, right? Vowels are very interchangeable. So the first, permutation of the expansion of the Tetragrammaton is the one that you see before you, which is associated with Malchuth. Now, I'm going to also provide the proofs of these revelations, of these divine revelations. Now, this divine name has a gematria of 45, which is also the gematria of Adam, and it's also the gematria of the Hebrew word ma, which means what. Now, this video is strictly intended for holy initiates and holy adepts. I expect all of you listening to know that ma is an occult reference to Shekhinah. I mean, this is stated en passant in our principal Kabbalistic texts. Okay, and why is Malchuth associated with Adam? Well, the reasons are very esoteric, and I don't have the time and space to go into them. In fact, no Jew will ever understand why Adam is comprehensively and principally associated with Malchuth until you get all the way to the Shabbatain level of initiation. Okay, it's too far beyond the canon scope of this video for me to reveal the full comprehensive reasons behind this very mystical divine equation. I will add and state, however, that we understand that Adam is a hermaphrodite entity, and in a sense, Malchuth is a hermaphrodite when in union with Zeir Anpin. Now, these are very powerful divine names that I'm presenting here, are powerful divine names that can be used when meditating and performing yichudim. In fact, a lot of yichudim are based on these divine names. A lot of yichudim, utilize these divine names, and even outside of yichudim, these are just powerful names in of themselves to perform very spiritual meditations with. For those of you who are holy initiates and adepts, at this point I expect and all of you listening to be holy initiates and adepts and to be fully acquainted with the various forms of holy, proper spiritual meditation and how to properly utilize these divine names. But this is the lowest form of the divine names, which is Malchut. And this divine name is closely and very closely associated with Malchut. And so when you're dealing principally with the sphere of Malchut, then you come to utilize this divine name. We also need to understand that Malchut is the 10th gate. It's the lowest gate. And so, this divine name essentially becomes the core and the nexus to enter those higher gates. Now, in succession, the next more powerful divine name is the one that you see before you, which is Zeir Anpin. And Zeir Anpin is the son of God, really the son of El. Has this holy name has a gematria of 52, which in Hebrew is Ben, which comes to signify the sun. Now, as holy Ignatius does, I expect all of you to understand that we have to be very explicit and careful when we are discussing the Holy Divine Son, because there are many Holy Divine Sons, right? In English, the profane and the uninitiated use the term Son of God very haphazardly, out of ignorance. In Hebrew, this is a very charged, very polysemous term. There are many names and levels to quote-unquote God. It doesn't really exist in Hebrew, okay? The question is, which God are you referring to? When you mention the Son of God, the question is, which God are you referring to? Are you referring to Arich Anpin? Are you referring to Zeir Anpin? Are you referring to Mashiach? Are you referring to Yesod? Which God are you referring to? Zeir Anpin is the highest Son of God. We have to understand that the Christians only know and understand the lowest Son of God. With respect to the Godhead, the man that they call Jesus is the most inferior and lowest form of the Son of God. There are much more powerful and higher forms. And Zeir Anpin is the highest form. Very, very critical to understand. Now you will notice, and this must be duly noted, that this divine name is composed of 9 letters. Now, if we go back to the divine name of Malchut, it is composed of 10 letters. And this is very critical because the Tetragrammaton is 4 letters, which represents the divine potentiality. And we know that the number 4 mathematically is equated with and expands to the number 10, right? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 equals 10. So the divine actuality is the Sferoth, the 10 Sferoth. So the Tetragrammaton represents the base root, the divine root, which is 4, which is the divine root and potentiality. Its expansion, this particular expansion, which represents Malchut, is composed of 10 letters, or the divine actuality, which is the 10 Sferoth of Malchut. It's very interesting that in this particular permutation for Zeir Anpin, we only have 9 letters. Duly note this. Now, we'll move on to the next divine name, which is that of Bina, which is written as you see on the screen. This divine name also is composed of 10 letters. It's only natural that these expansions are naturally and divinely composed of 10 letters, which is the natural mathematical expansion of its base root, which is 4. Now, this divine name has a gematria of 63, which is equivalent to the Aramaic word Bina, which is spelled Bein Nun Aleph, as opposed to its Hebrew version, which is Bein Nun Hey. And it's also very interestingly equated with the Hebrew word Din, which is the Hebrew word for judgment. Okay, so the proof that this holy divine name is associated with Bina is the fact that, guess what? In Aramaic, Bina has the same gematria as 63. Okay, understand that I'm giving you the divine proofs of the associations of these divine names, which Sferoth they are associated with. Now, this divine name is associated with judgment because we need to understand that Bina is at the top of the left pillar, and so she represents the ultimate first root and source of the left pillar, which is Deen, or judgment. The next divine name is Chokhmah. I know it says at the top Bina. I actually forgot. I actually forgot to put Chokhmah instead of Bina there. That's my fault. I'm actually quite upset about that. But it should say Chokhmah instead of Bina. So this divine name is actually a reference to Chokhmah. This divine name is associated with Chokhmah. It has a gematria of 72, which is equated with the Hebrew word Chesed, or the Sphira Chesed, which is loving kindness. Okay. Now we also have to understand that Chokhmah is at the top of the right pillar, which comes to represent Chesed, and Chesed is a sphere in the right pillar. So there's a natural equation between Chokhmah and Chesed being on the right pillar. Even more so, this divine name is also equated with the Hebrew word Chokhmah, which has a gematria of 73, which is equal to 72 in Kolel. So again, we have this is the proof that this divine name is associated with Chokhmah and ultimately Chesed, or the right pillar. Now I will conclude by once again proving that I am indeed a Grand Master and the Chief Magician of Mystery Babylon. Now, in all of the principal Kabbalistic texts, and practically all of them that I've come to read, there is a major blasphemous error that has become unknown to all the Kabbalists. I think I'm the only one that knows this. Just goes to prove and show how high my initiation is. Now, according to all of the standard Kabbalistic texts, they provide the order of these divine names, as you will see on the left, which is incorrect. Now, according to their order, the name of 72 corresponds to Atzilut, and then comes the name of 63, which corresponds to Bria, and then comes the name of 45, which corresponds to Yetzirah, and the name of 52, which corresponds to Asiya. Now, the error lies in the last two names. They will have the name of 45 corresponding to Zeranpin, and the name of 52 corresponding to Shekhinah. When in fact the correct order, as you see on the right, is that it is the name of 52 that corresponds to Zeranpin, and the name of 45 that corresponds to Shekhinah. I've already given you the proofs. I mean, they're so obvious, they're so in your face. I don't know how all of these master and even grandmaster Kabbalists couldn't see that this is a blasphemous error, right? First of all, we have a natural progression downward in terms of gematria, right? 72, 63, 52, 45. This is a natural correct descending order. The incorrect order is not a natural descending order, which is just one of many clues that this is an incorrect order. Moreover, 52, it's such an obvious reference to Zeranpin. It means the sun. Who is the sun? They're referring to Shekhinah as the sun. Why would you? Every Kabbalist knows that Ma is an occult reference to Shekhinah, and that Ben is an occult reference to the sun, which is Zeranpin, the middle pillar. This is standard Kabbalah. But again, we also have to, in context, we also have to realize that at the same time, we have many inferior Kabbalists that they're so ignorant, so spiritually blind, that they don't know that Yeshua Bar Yosef is HaMashiach ben Yosef. And they see all of these Christians that are all gung-ho about the Son of God. And they have a natural tendency to want to disassociate themselves from the quote-unquote Son of God and Christianity. And this is where this bias comes into play and is introduced, and therefore which is the source and reason why this error came into being and why these last two divine names were reversed. When the truth is more than obvious. I mean, I think all of you listening can just see how obvious the truth is, and just how obvious this is an incorrect order. Okay, it's just to me it's freaking obvious. I don't know how this just slipped past all of the grandmasters and masters before me. I have no idea. I mean, it's just madness. Okay, but this is a seal. Consider this one of many seals that I have given on this holy channel. That indeed I am indeed the chief magician of Mystery Babylon and the grandmaster of Israel. Shalom, Selah.